Okay, let's call to order tonight's Town of Lloyd regular board meeting for November 15th. I will ask Councilman Auckland to lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand and remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, one nation under God. I'm still under amnesia, or whatever it is.
And justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you get a bye this week. I shouldn't have picked you since you're under anesthesia,
Called
probably.
out the wrong guy. He's still under.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
still under medication.
Okay, and all meetings are, as we know, are held live in the town hall, streamed live on Channel 22 and on WebEx. And I would like to start off by thanking the American Legion and Commander Aaliyah for hosting the Veterans Day event last Saturday at Veterans Park. It was short, but it was a great event. We had a pretty good turnout, so thanks again to that. So we're going to go straight into the reports. We'll start off with Councilman Auckmoody with Beautification Committee.
Beautification, they took the scarecrows down. That worked out pretty well. Right now, they're working on putting up the rest of the Christmas decorations. I'm not exactly sure. We have a project, we have to trim some bushes to put up 2 more hooks. Is that correct, sir?
I don't know.
Yeah, we do. That's about it for beautification for the moment.
Okay, you want to go to your other, to Planning Board and Rail Trail, Lenny?
Rail
And
trail, you
landing.
can cede to Peter.
Okay.
You got anything?
Just briefly, at the end of October, we had Oktoberfest with the walkway. Saturday it was rainy, but people came out. Sunday it was packed. Good time. Next week I'll be pouring the pads for the historic signage along the rail trail with the help of Charlie Long, and we'll get them up soon. And then in the resolutions, what else I'm up to. So we'll get to that.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you. Highland Landing, I'm very pleased to announce that the Bob Shepard picture that was on the plaque has been replaced. That was done this morning. So we're having a little bit of trouble with the time lock on the door, so we're still working on that. But other than that, they cleaned up. Everything is about ready for winter. So that's about it. The planning board is sort of long, but lot line revision on 20 Cross Creek was approved. SCS Holdings site plan was approved for a 2-family house. Pepino Foods was approved for 70 by 165 building. That's on South Street. No, I'm lying to you. That's on,
Station.
which one?
Station Road.
Yeah, all right, they said it. Romeo Randy around the corner, that review continues. Travis special use permit on 12 Falcon Drive, that continues. That's about a solar array. Whalen Roberts special use permit 203 South Street, that was approved for an accessory apartment. Subdivision Walton, 1 to 25 Picnic Woods Road, that was approved. Surprise Photography special use permit 151 Mac Lane, that was approved. I'll get to the rest of them in a moment. I'm a little slow. New short-term rental, Zachary Mullen on 229 Lily Lake Road. That was approved for a short-term rental. And Silver Gardens, at that meeting was approved. That's why the owner is here tonight. That's it.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Lenny? Okay, Mike's absent. I know there's not been a lot of activity in ECC, or zoning was last week. Joe, you want to update us on school district stuff?
Nothing to report.
What's that?
Nothing to report.
No, nothing to report, okay. Okay, we'll move on to Councilman Frano and his, you get to go through all yours, John.
Okay. First, do the Highland Fire District or Highland Hose Company, they had, month of October, 48 alarms dispatches. They had a response of an average of 12 firefighters per call. Highest was 23. They had 107 apparatus responses. They expended 438 man-hours for alarms, 60 man-hours for meetings, 183 man-hours for training, and 455 man-hours. So it's 1,136 man-hours, and 48 calls, a pretty busy month. And the other thing, the fire district commissioners election is the second Tuesday in December, and that is December 12th, and polls are open, I believe, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Station 1 Firehouse. So that's, excuse me, that's the fire district. The ambulance contract, we've obviously notified New Paltz that, New Paltz Rescue, that they won, they were successful in the bid, and we're awaiting their contract to be drafted so we can have our review of it and then submit our application for the certificate of need, which Dave has prepared, ready to go, once we have a contract in place. So that's looking good. We're moving forward with that. The lighting district seems to be just a lot of streetlights out. We got our arms around Mountainside Woods, and we have all the lights on up there so that those three new roads are no longer dark. They have lighting, I'm happy to say. I spoke to Brian Finn today from Central Hudson. There's a couple of reports or work orders that I submitted literally 2 months ago that they haven't responded to yet. So Brian assured me that they would be getting caught up and taking care of that. And the pavilion, the electrician went in and all the conduit has been installed. Sean Williams actually went over and did some more work on the drains yesterday and today, for the downspout drains where it has to match up to the columns. Johnny Diaz, about 2 hours ago from Atlantic Concrete, committed to me that they will be pouring next Monday, should be complete by Tuesday. So we're hoping the weather holds up and hoping that the rest of his jobs go well so he can make it to us on time on Monday. And once the slab is poured, we will notify Mike Campbell so he can arrange for his crew to come in and actually start the construction on the building. I think that's all my stuff, right?
Okay, except events committee, just a reminder, Light Up the Hamlets, December 8th. Right. It's 8th, yeah, it's 8th.
Right,
Okay.
thank you. That's it.
Okay, and as far as Lloyd Community Development Committee, we have, which is the revolving loan, we have no applications in at this time. So I think in January, we'll start coming out with how we market that so we can move forward. Okay, old business. I normally update you on Tilson Talk, but since today was a big day over there, Dan Goslin from Barton LaJudas is here, and Dan, if you have to get up here so people can hear you. You can give us this week's update.
Oh, boy. All right.
You might probably have to turn that microphone on, Dan.
I think it's
Screen?
on.
Okay, great.
So as of today, the bridge has been set. So that was the biggest milestone we've been kind of waiting for. Unfortunately, we've had a number of delays through the contract through this calendar year. We've lost a couple months at least due to weather Every time it rained, we lost multiple days waiting for the stream to drop back down, and so we couldn't pour concrete, we couldn't put the footings in to put the bridge in. But happy to say that we are now basically out of the stream for any critical work from here on. Work completed to date. The water main has been completed, and so the new 18-inch main up through Linwood Ave is completed. All gas service and gas main relocations have been completed except for the work across the bridge. That will be completed over the winter time, pending once our walls are poured, then they can set the gas main across the bridge and we can eliminate the old bridge out of its way. Final top course paving's been completed up to about to Tilson Avenue. So the entirety of Tilson Ave from the bank over has been done. We have 85% of the driveways ready to go. Paving is going to be completed in the next 2 days. So a lot of the residences' properties will be cleaned up and buttoned up for the winter. Sidewalk as was completed as of this morning, I should say this afternoon. Approximate to Linwood Ave, we have to obviously, now that the bridge is in, we still have to backfill. We still have to place top course pavement and all the sub base in Vineyard Ave. There's a few sewer lines to relocate. There's a few sewer manholes we need to put in and a few utility things that need to be completed in that area. Now that the bridge is in, we can finally start working on all that. With that, New York State DOT has provided a need that Vineyard Ave needs to be reopened by December 1st. So we are stretching to see how far we can get, weather dependent, with getting as much as we can done before Vineyard Ave is open. The reason they need it open is for their winter maintenance operations, which unfortunately are starting already, as we can see with snowfall already starting. With that, wing walls will be poured in the next couple days. Bridgehead walls, the caps, the things like that will be poured. Sidewall could be poured, and we will button up the bridge for the winter time and anticipate completing the work in May, at the end of May in 2024. And hopefully we can get more done. It is all weather dependent. The contractors assured me that they will be on site as long as weather allows. So pending major snowfall at this point, we will attempt to get as much work as we can done in what little time we have left. That could be next week. That could be, January 1st. We will hopefully cross our fingers and hope for the best on the weather. So with that, Dave, we just had 2 things in front of the board there, but that's kind of the update for the project at this time.
Sorry, and Dan's here, and I know, Dan, you have a couple-hour drive ahead of you tonight.
No worries.
So there were 2 resolutions on here. I think we'll move up to the front. The resolutions L and M. And the first resolution, L, is, and I'll keep you up there in case we have to answer it, is the, just trying to figure out which one is which. One was, yeah, the first one was the extension you talked about of the contract, and we never extended it last year.
Correct. Yeah.
So we had if everybody remembers on the board, we had a base bid and an ad alternate. And the contract the DOT was working to was the base bid.
Correct.
And that actually ended in September of '22.
Correct.
So we had never updated it, and they alerted Dan to that a few weeks ago. And what's important about it is we've been getting our rebates right along. I think so far we are like 3 million or so expended, and we've turned in every form so far, and Kendra's been very good about getting the money back. So we want to continue to get that back, so we need to update the end date on that contract so that we do it. So that's what Resolution L is. And we'll get to them when we get to them, but I just wanted to make sure in case anybody had questions, they could ask Dan now. And then the Resolution M is the construction inspection that B&L does for us. And we've had 7 supplements to date, and this will be supplement 8. So I don't know if anybody has questions on them. They want to ask Dan on either of them while he's here or not. Okay. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. That's it for old business. The only thing under new business, again, is just a reminder that Monday, 11/20 from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Firehouse is our second public session for the comp plan. So we hope to get, we've been advertising it, and I know I've already heard of a number of people planning to attend, so we hope to get good attendance at that. So we'll move to privilege of the floor. Yeah, Mark, here, come up here.
I just had a clarification. On the job that was created in the building department with Ms. McCarthy, what's the annual salary?
With it's $18 an hour, it's part-time.
And how many hours a
I
week?
think it's less than 20 a week, right? You know, Margaret?
6 to 8 hours a week.
What is it?
6 to 8 hours.
Oh, it's only 6 to 8 hours
6
a
to 8
week,
hours
I'm
a week.
sorry.
And what would her duties be?
She, administrative is mainly taking stuff and digitizing it. So you're taking maps, digitizing them so that we don't have to keep all the paper.
Okay. I also wanted to follow up, a few months back when we were talking about the 2024 budget. I think, Dave, you mentioned that you might bring up to the board the issue of whether to hire somebody to handle the affordable housing. And I wondered if you had had that discussion with the board?
We did not add it into the budget. We have to figure out the right affordable housing law, as we've been saying, and how we administer it. And I think we'll do that as part of the comp plan.
The details of the new law you'll put in there?
Well, we'll go through the comp plan when we have the expert consultants that are helping us get through it, and hopefully they can help us rewrite that law so that it works for our town.
At that time, do you think that you would be able to outline what it is you object to
I
and
sure
what
hope
would be
so.
good?
I sure hope so.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else for privilege? Yeah, Lenny?
Yeah, I spoke with the board at the workshop meeting, and I was wondering if there was going to be any kind of correspondence
Yes.
on what the building department has found.
Yeah, it's actually the SWIP team, which Anthony does for us. What they've actually done, and I actually had the map here, Lenny, they've mapped out the pipes that go underneath all that ground. Some of them go through, some of them actually go through personal properties that wouldn't have easements on. So we're trying to figure out a couple things. One is, can we get a camera in the pipe from where we own to look up it and see if something's clogging? Because there is a spot where we believe it's an 8-inch pipe being fed by a 18-inch pipe being fed by a 24-inch pipe.
Yeah,
So-
that 24-inch
so-
pipe is at my property.
Yeah, so we're wondering if there's something stuck at the 24-inch pipe that won't fit through the 18. So we're going to try and get a camera up there, was one of the discussions we have. The other thing we have is we have Andy Learn from CPL doing measurements on the retention pond that we spoke about on Mile Hill Road. So within the next 2 weeks, I expect to get Anthony, Dave Barton, Rich, and Andy Learn together so we can discuss where we go with
Yeah,
this.
well, in past meetings, I gave the town the opportunity to have an easement through my property to go to the
Right, right.
corner of Christopher and
Yep.
Baker lots. So this way you don't have to go behind those other people's properties
Okay.
unless you find, another source to it. It would bring you
Right.
right out to it, which would also, make it possible to do additional drainage down the street
Okay.
instead of just everything getting bottled up down in the middle of the street and the water's got really nowhere to go and it builds up onto the side of the roads.
Yeah, so let me get them together, and I think somebody had mentioned that, so when we get them together, that'll be one of the subjects, and then we'll have to talk to you also, Sean, about where an easement would be and what it would take.
Well, if we need an easement, yeah, but I think that's a question, Andy.
Right,
also-
right, Andy's gotta help us with
Where,
that.
with the course, where you're
Right,
gonna put it, and then
right.
we could decide if we need an easement
So-
for your property.
So we didn't forget about it, is my point.
No, I understand now. I
And,
was just trying to confirm what it was.
We will be, we've already talked about getting together with Anthony, Dave Barton, Richie Klotz, and Andy Learn in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Probably the week after Thanksgiving, because I'm not sure who's on
No,
next
that's
week.
fine.
And then we'll inform you again and go from there.
Okay,
And in the meantime, we may put a camera up that one pipe,
okay.
okay?
Yeah,
Lenny, I just want to say, Lenny, it's a shame. It's disgusting that you're dealing with this for this long period of time and hearing we may put a camera up, we're going to put a camera up. put a camera up it. Take care of it. This poor guy's been dealing with this. He came to us before it was built with the concern. He's got flooding. Take care of it.
Joe, I got,
It's sad.
I got
I hear there's a
alert
lot of
about it.
back talking about it.
Don't, I'm not the back talking, I'm taking an action on it.
Maybe 2
People have
weeks.
been on the board for a long time, haven't done anything with it, and I'm taking an action. And I'll work with Lenny, as I have in the past.
Well, you should have had a camera already.
Just to give you a little idea, there is a basin across the street from me at Fort Breakerhoff.
Right.
Between, Fort Breakerhoff and 2, Christopher, Real's house.
Yep, I got that.
There's a basin there. You can actually look back towards go upstream or downstream through
Right.
that basement. Because I know for future, I've lived there all my life, so I know the whole deal with the whole place.
Yep.
If you go to the back corner of 4 Brinkerhoff, on the corner lot before 2 Brinkerhoff, there is a dry well there.
Yep.
And then that I don't know where it goes after that. After the dry well, it's nobody really knows what direction it.
Well, that's what we want Andy to help us with, map that out a bit also.
Okay.
Because it's really not mapped out, because we don't have easements on it, so
Yeah,
that's
All right.
part of the issue.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Lenny.
much.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Lenny.
coming
Good
back.
evening.
Anybody else for privilege of the floor? Yes, sir. Name, please.
AJ Roos. I was just touching base. We have not heard back about the bids due
Yep.
that were due for the ball fields.
You mean for the
For the
lawn,
maintenance.
right?
That is correct.
Right, and we talked about that a few weeks ago. I spent time with Frank, our recreation director, a couple other people in our office here, and the way that bid was written, to me, I don't know how you could figure out who to award it to.
So I foiled the request for
Uh-huh.
all of the bids, and I tended to add them all up the same way across each line.
Right.
And then upon, some investigating from some of the members of the town found that, the fair way to do it was some guys were putting as fertilizing as 1 time, some were
Right.
doing as 2. So even if you take everybody and you have them by 4 times.
Yeah.
And then all the numbers down across the board. I mean, I came up with numbers.
I know you do. Yeah, when I looked at it, I'm sorry, your name is?
AJ.
AJ.
Yep.
When we looked at it, AJ, and
214 landscaping.
there was too many, there
Yeah.
were too many variables in it, like the spring cleanup, you couldn't do an apples to apples compare, the fertilizer, as you mentioned. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna restructure that bid and send it out again in January.
That's not what was said. And that's, again,
No,
that was not what was said, Dave. But hold on,
it is.
AJ. What was
Sure.
said at the meeting is that when I asked what they're going to go with, Frank said, we're going to go with Baker Brothers. I said, why? He said, best value. I said, you need to explain why it's the best value. Remember that, Sean? And Frank was supposed to put it in writing. He said, well, if you look at the spreadsheet, you can see. I said, I can't tell, and if somebody asks, I can't defend that. So Frank was supposed to put it in writing why they were the best value. Did you receive that, Sean?
We spent time with Frank, and he tried to put it in, and he couldn't do it because of the
Can I just make a
variables.
statement?
So then,
Yes.
I bid approximately 50 of these contracts a year. If they were gonna go with best value, it is actually New York State and federal regulation that it has to be listed in the solicitation for bid.
Right, okay.
And
if he-
the bid solicitation was about 6 sentences for this bid,
It was what?
like 6 sentences.
Right.
So it wasn't listed in there, it was listed as a competitive bid, which at that point is lowest bidder. And if you added the lines up across the season, if you went by a seasonal price, if you added everything up and gave them apples to apples on the fertilizing, which was the only thing that wasn't clear, because you're gonna take out hourly rate, because that I can say is not clear. So my hourly rate at 80 is considered for my crew of 2 to 3 guys, doesn't matter what it is. Even at 4 times my fertilizing rate, which is what Frank told me that Baker's was gonna be. Now, I just wanna put in that I called Frank when I went and looked at all these, and he told me that it was fertilized Labor Day and Memorial Day, which is why I put per application.
Right.
So even if you take mine and go 4 times my application cost and add the numbers up the same way, it leaves me $15 short of $10,000 cheaper than Baker.
Yeah, but the difference,
Sean, I got a
was
question.
also.
Sean, I got a question. They can't confirm, no, I'm asking a question.
Can't he
I can
respond
ask
to
a
his?
question.
I was responding to him
I'm going
first.
to ask a question to Sean. So Sean, if the best value is improvable and he's the lowest bid, shouldn't it be awarded to him, not restructuring the bids? That doesn't sound very fair.
You don't have to let a bid. I did not see that bid. You know, when it went out, you were saying AJ said 6 sentences. I did not see it, but I've talked about, some documentation that I did see regarding how you justify the best value. And the bid, what I saw from the information that came to how the bids were put in, it was a little confusing and it was tough to compare apples to apples, so to speak. But the board is not, you're not under an obligation to award a bid at any time.
Unfortunately, what comes from it on our side is the farther we get into these seasons, the harder it is to take.
Understand.
And this contract, actually, the way it's written, which is a lot different than other contracts. So I just won a contract for the Dutchess County Water Department. No matter what happens throughout the year, that contract is guaranteed. You
Right.
put a dollar amount on that contract. This contract doesn't fall this way. This contract is per cut. So they have estimates in there for 2 of the parks to be cut 35 times a year, saying that sometimes that they might want it cut twice a week. Now, speaking with Frank, when this went out to bid, if Buildings and Grounds has nothing better to do, they will go cut it.
Right. And that's why I said there's too many variables. And I like what you said about the municipal water contract and that you're talking about. And I kind of want ours to be structured in a similar way, where it's a set cost. And I don't think it's fair to any of the bidders. When I started going through that spreadsheet with Frank and I talked to some people, I talked to Sean about it. I said, I don't know how I can tell which one's best value based on, and I can't even tell which one's lowest based on the variables, because there were spring cleanups that sometimes the town does, sometimes
So
we hire out.
Going by what we went on for spring cleanups, I mean, I always run cheaper on spring and fall cleanups, essentially, because if you're mowing the place properly,
Right.
you're, especially at the frequency that you guys want done, there's next to nothing to be done for fall cleanups. You've mowed it the entire time. But if you add them all up the same way, you know, the 3 bids that counted were gonna be Baker, I say Waterworks, but because there was a public opening and that bid didn't make it to the public opening, technically it's not viable. And then I'm in at 52,265, Baker's in at 62,240, added up the exact same way.
Except that the spring cleanups are still the variable in what they're actually doing and in the
What's the
hourly rate.
variable? I mean-
Well, the variable is what is actually done for a spring cleanup wasn't defined, and the hourly rate and how many hours we would use that hourly rate for wasn't defined. So I have these numbers, it could be 100 hours or 1,000 hours, I need to know that. And that's what was not in that bid. That's why I don't want to award the bid the way it was written. I'm agreeing with you that the bid was not written correctly, and I want to redo it.
That's what it sounds like to me.
You're never gonna be able to put a time frame on hourly. So I do a lot of work.
Well, maybe I'll take that part out of the bid then.
I do a lot of work for Central Hudson,
Uh-huh.
and we have an hourly rate for them too. It's stated as 2 guys. It's used as needed.
Right.
I actually take care of the whole section of the rail trail from the corner of South Street to the shed company.
Right.
And that's just, I don't know. Mr. Frano and I spoke when this bid was opened, and we actually acknowledged how backwards it was. That I've never seen anything that was, you know, a one-page
Right.
solicitation.
I'm not disagreeing with you, and that's why I want to do the bid correctly. I want to do it correctly. You've actually helped in my discussion with you last week, or whenever it was, when I sat down and went through it some more, and I said, I don't know how we bid this way with all these things that are variable, and I don't know how we could sit here and say, you know, this bid's better than that one, or whatever. So that's the work we did. I'm agreeing with you that the way the bid was done was not the best way it could have been done. So I want to do it right.
So this is gonna go out for rebid.
Yeah, probably in January, because we don't need the work to start till March or April.
No, but you might get a lot less interest in it in January.
I understand
Contracts are
that.
full.
I do understand. I understand the
Seasons
risk.
are full,
I do understand the risk.
so that's just kinda where I'm at. Like, we have a Central Hudson contract
Yep.
to put up for bid in January. It's $155,000 a year.
Yep.
You know, so
No,
it's hard.
And look, I appreciate your feedback, and you and I spoke the other day, and as I looked more into it, that's where I came out. And I unfortunately didn't spend a lot of time prior trying to understand what the bid was.
Sure. So if it's gonna come out for best value, I would say by rule, that has to be in solicitation if it's not gonna be competitive bid. It puts it at a purchase contract, not a competitive bid.
Well, we're gonna spend some more time with Sean on how to write that up, because I don't think any of us, it was an old bid package that was put out in,
Okay, I didn't see the bid package.
yeah, well,
It-
Right, but I think, and maybe you wanna do, alternates, you know?
right.
I
something
mean,
like
the
that, right.
bid letter came out and said that, sealed quotes are being sought for Town of Lloyd Lawn Care, various town fields, properties, and parks for 3-season contract.
Yep.
Quotes will be accepted until 11 a.m. Friday, September 29th, 2023, at the Town of Lloyd Town Clerk's Office. And they will be publicly opened and read, no quotes by mail. And this was the piece of paper that came with
Yep.
it, and a non-collusion form.
Yep, I have,
And that was it.
you got it.
So, I mean, there wasn't.
And as I
really-
said, I appreciate your feedback, because you and I spoke, and I know you spoke with Wendy, and I know you spoke with a few others, and
Sure.
we're agreeing with you that the way the bid went out wasn't the proper way, wasn't set enough so you can do it apples to apples compare between the bidders.
So
That's
I
what
guess my last question before I go is, are we gonna be shooting for a true seasonal price? when
Yes.
You put this out?
Yes, that's what I want to do, yes.
Okay. That will make it more appealing to people that
agree.
it's not on a per cut basis. We don't have to bill or keep track on a per cut basis.
I got it,
Okay?
right.
I appreciate
And
everyone's time.
thank you, AJ.
Thank you.
Anybody else for privilege of the floor? Okay, we're going to move on to motion.
You got somebody
You
else?
got a hand up?
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't see you raise your hand there.
That's all right, I'm quiet.
No problem.
I'm Mike Ryder. You've met me before.
Yes.
A couple times. I'm coming in again for one of the same issues. I was here twice before for. Every time we have court night here, there's things that go on in the parking lot that should be addressed and they're not. My wife called me 3:15 yesterday. A man pulled in next to the shed furthest to the street and proceeded to drop his pants and relieve himself.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear the
A
last.
man pulled in for court
Okay,
next to the shed closest to the street, decides to get out of his car, pulls down his pants, and relieves himself.
oh, really? Okay.
This is just one of the issues that
Yeah.
constantly happens on court night. I pick up
Yeah.
liquor bottles, beer bottles.
Did you call the police on that, Mike?
She didn't.
Okay.
She felt like she was going to get in trouble if she did that. She didn't want the guy doing anything to the property, and I said, you don't need to worry about that. She should have called. I told
Right.
her that.
Yeah.
But it's just a slew of things that happen. There's been people doing drugs out there. Believe it or not, there's been hookers seen out there. And it's typically court nights that it goes on, unbelievably. But nobody's out there monitoring the parking lot. So it happens all different hours of the day.
Okay, and you said she did not call the police that night?
She did not.
Okay.
But she can tell you what he looked like, what he drove, and between 3 and 3:30, they could probably look it up in the docket.
Okay.
That was just kind of the last straw for me again, because I've had people defecate in the yard. I have to clean it up. I mow the town property there, so I see a lot of
Yeah, I know where you're at.
extra things that I don't need to. But
Okay.
I don't know what the solution to that is,
Well,
but
I don't know, I'm gonna talk to the chief and lieutenant, maybe they have to have more presence on court nights in that area. That's,
they kind of indicated last night, because there were 2 police officers up there, that they had nothing to do with that.
what's that?
They indicated they had nothing to do with the parking lot.
Oh,
as far
court
as
off,
patrolling
probably
it or-
court
That was
officers.
court officers, probably.
No.
That was police?
Police
Okay.
officers, 2 of the cars were out there.
Okay. We will talk to the chief.
All right,
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else privilege the floor? Not, we'll move forward to motions and resolutions. Motions to approve the minutes from October 18th Town Board meeting and October 25th Town Board meeting.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, resolution to authorize the payment of vouchers as audited by the Audit Committee. Need a motion?
motion,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Resolution C, and this was from about a month ago, when Peter gave us the presentation on the Farm Bridge. And I believe we passed the estimate to everybody. We had a discussion in here about it. We talked to some other experts that said this needs to get done. So the resolution is, whereas the Ford Farm Historic Trust over the Hudson Valley Rail Trail is currently in a state of disrepair and closed to pedestrians. The Hudson Valley Rail Trail had Creighton Manning conduct an inspection. The report was prepared and has made several recommendations, including immediate recommendations to be performed, that a load rating professional engineer stamp be performed, whereas the town board feels the bridge in its current condition endangers public safety, and which is a very busy pedestrian path. Town board feels it's an emergency to make the repairs as expeditiously as possible, and therefore wish to waive the competitive bidding requirements under General Municipal Law, Section 103. The town has received a proposal from Pisaki Steel Construction for $18,500. The town board is, in the interest of public safety, wishes to engage Pisaki Steel Construction to perform the necessary repairs of the rehabilitation as quickly as possible. Now therefore it be resolved that the proposal from Pisaki Steel Corporation for the repair and rehabilitation of the Ford Farm Historic Trust Bridge over the Hudson Valley Rail Trail is hereby accepted, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to enter into any further agreements to effectuate the work as set forth in this said proposal. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Get a
Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
Roll
we'll do a
call. Moreno?
Yes.
Plavchek?
Yes.
Akmoody?
Yes.
Mazzetti?
Okay, motion carried. And the next motion goes along with that. That's for the load. This is for the historic trust bridge over the Hudson. It's hereby currently in a state of disrepair. The town had the engineering firm from Creighton and Manning conduct an inspection. The report prepared has made several recommendations, including immediate recommendations to be performed, and further, the load rating with professional engineer stamp be performed. The town board feels that the bridge in its current condition endangers public safety, very similar to the last resolution, and it's emergency to make the repairs as expeditiously as possible. Town has received a proposal from Creighton Manning to perform a load rating with professional engineer stamp and to ensure that the rehabilitated bridge rates satisfactorily for the current design codes, as the town board wishes to engage Creighton Manning to its said proposal for a total fee not to exceed $6,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposal submitted by Creighton Manning, of which is attached, is hereby approved, and the supervisor hereby authorized to execute the same. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Roll call. Moreno?
Yes.
Plavchek?
Yes.
Akmoody?
Yes.
Mazzetti?
Yes.
Okay, and just for clarification, those two bills total $24,500, and $15,000 of that's from the Rail Trail Funds, or 501c3 account, and $9,500 is from the Rail Trail Reserve account held here by the town. This is where it's coming from. We spent time with Kendra to make sure that was covered. Okay, Resolution E. Pursuant to the executive session at the 11/1/2023 Town Board meeting, where the new contract for Adam Littman was discussed, therefore be it resolved, Town Board, upon the recommendation of Town Supervisor, approves the terms of the agreement between the town and the Highland Water Sewer District Administrator dated November 15th, 2023, and authorizes the Town Supervisor to sign said agreement. Can I get,
Motion.
Second.
do a roll call, Wendy?
Moreno?
Yes.
Plavchek?
Yes.
Akmoody?
Yes.
Mazzetti?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resolutions are for Silver Gardens, and they are Silver Gardens, which was approved back in 2020 or late 2020 to early 2021, had conditions on the site plan, and now that they're starting to move forward, they're putting together the agreements to meet the conditions, is the best way to look at it. So we have these resolutions as part of the development agreement to go through.
Dave, can we condense them all together? Because they're basically all
They're basically what?
All the civic cars are all easements and
They're all easements, and one is a,
right away.
one is water line, yeah, it's water line easement, it's water, and one is, Sean, is there a problem of just putting these all into, okay. I didn't think so either, but they're all on the site plan as conditions, which means they
Right.
should match the site plan. So this is going to be resolution F through K,
Yes,
is that right?
yes.
And you can read through them all, but they are, the first one is for the dedication of the water line facilities as it's completed. The second one is for the dedication of the water line facilities, of more water line facilities, and you can see the difference, the
Water
different
line
parcels
easement.
involved. The
Association
H
agreement.
is for the water line easement agreement. I is for the offer of cession, which is the, right, that's the offer of cession agreement for the subdivision plat. J is for the pedestrian trail, which leads up to Franny Reese Park, which was a condition of the site plan also. And K is the final developments agreement, which captures everything that wasn't in the first five, is probably the right way to say
It's
it.
a contract between the town.
Contract between the town,
Developer on
right.
How to proceed.
Right, so can I get them, I'm sure you could all read these, so I don't have to read them out for everybody. Can I get a motion for resolutions F through K?
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Wendy, you want to take a roll call on this?
Yep, Farino,
Yes.
Plavcheck, Akmoody,
Yes.
Mazzetti.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to L. And L is the extension for the Tilson Talk contract, which expired on 9/2022. And I'll read briefly, I'll kind of scan through it, but Dan kind of explained it when he was here. So it's the project for Tilson, 9W, in the town, from Tilson to 9W in town of Lloyd, identified as PIN 8757.81, for the reconfiguration and intersection, culvert replacement, pedestrian accommodations, et cetera, as you could read there. Town entered into the contract for the base bid on June 2nd, 2022, and the work was, they were scheduled to, the notice to proceed was July 13th, 2022, and the town executed the contract on November 18th for completion of work outlined in the ad alternate, which we never had a updated resolution on. Order on contract number 1 increased the quantities and the complete work associated with ad alternate, but did not modify the contract duration, the account, or for the additional work. And the provisions of the original project agreement remain in effect, except as modified under contract number 2, and for an additional contract length from last September to up 534 days, with no additional charges. Again, the project's eligible for funding under Title 23 U.S. Code as amended. It calls for the apportionment of the cost as 80% federal and 20% non-federal. The new 15% of it is actually New York State Marshallese aid, and the town of Lloyd is committed to 100% of the non-federal share, which is the remaining 5%. Now, therefore, the town board duly convened hereby that the town of Lloyd hereby approves the order on contract number 2 for the additional out-of-scope work not on contract number 1, and that authorized representative from town of Lloyd is hereby authorized to execute the order on contract number 2 on behalf of the town of Lloyd, and that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Wendy?
Farino,
Yes.
Plavcheck,
Yes.
Akmoody,
Yes.
Mazzetti.
Okay, and resolution M, as Dan was describing, this is for the construction inspection on Tilson Talk. And again, the same PIN number, and, we had approved in the last 10 years supplements number 1 through 7, and this allows them to continue their construction inspection, and their sum is $256,000, which again is reimbursable under the PIN number. The same breakup, 80-20 and 80-15 and 5, or 80 and 20, the way it's written here. And the Town of Lloyd Board hereby approves supplemental agreement number 8 for the additional out-of-scope work not included of the original agreement in supplements 1 through 7, and resolved an authorized representative from the Town of Lloyd is hereby authorized to execute supplemental agreement number 8 on behalf of the Town of Lloyd. It's further resolved that the resolution shall take effect immediately. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Randy, roll call?
Farino,
Yes.
Plavcheck,
Yes.
Akmodi,
Yes.
Mazzetti.